There's the intent by stakeholders, there's the capacity, and I think the climate's right too now for this to happen. A lot of good things happening in the southern region. Growth in tourism is really strong. Of course, we've got another commissionable venue coming along with Motorcycle Mecca, about to open in November. Will complement the transport world. So some very exciting times down there.
How is it possible that all the money in Southland from agriculture doesn't then get reflected in the Invercargill CBD?
Yeah, that's a very unique. It's a unique situation because, in contrast, you look at for instance, in Gore, and again a complete contrast. So it's one thing we haven't worked out yet. I think uniquely, many of the large business people there don't get involved in the politics. It's been a unique. It's been a different situation than we've seen in many of the other parts of New Zealand or even Australasia in terms of local government.
Now, the situation is reaching a critical point when Air New Zealand says it's going to reduce flights, because in some ways that's a slippery slope, isn't it, when the number of people who can even get there if they want to starts to decline.
That's right. For us, flying into Invercargill, we can often get there for about the same price it costs us to get to London. So it is a real challenge.
And what's the answer? I mean, is a 5-star hotel going to help, or does it need more than that?
Yeah, it certainly needs, I wouldn't necessarily say a 5-star hotel, certainly needs more, it needs some better accommodation. It needs the capacity. So we recognise that's the Achilles heel that's happening down there. And I think that message from Air New Zealand was a very, very clear statement that something needs to happen and it needs to happen quickly.
So what's the process? Is it just a question of money? Is it all about cash, or is it about something more complicated?
It's not about cash. The cash is there and there's the intent there. We know there's the demand. It is a tricky political situation, and I think that we've got a new council on board. We've got some new thinking happening. We've got issues like, not issues, but we've got dynamics such as the licensing trusts, which are unique for many investors when they look at an area. This is different territory than many businesses have come across in other areas they've worked.
Now, at the moment, I don't think you're actively working with Invercargill, but you'd like to be.
Absolutely. We've done a lot of work with Venture Southland, and I've got to say that's a very dynamic organisation. We've worked with a lot of regional economic groups, and we've been very impressed with Venture's appetite to support their business community, the fact that they've made things happen. And I've got to say, we ran a big workshop down there earlier this year. I think 120 people along. You know, that was outstanding. The numbers that they got, the engagement that they got from their stakeholders. So again, I think it's a very, very unique market down there.
Now, does a community have to change before a CBD gets upgraded, or can a CBD upgrade lead to a community change?
A CBD upgrade can take its community with it, very, very much so. At the moment, unfortunately, our CBD is not an aspirational destination. We need to change that. So we'd be looking at the likes of developing precincts, so precincts with some themes around them. You know, the hospitality precinct is a key one. But, you know, we've got there's also a lot of really good things to work with right now. H&J Smith's is a best of class retailer. This is a business that's doing well in a very challenging market, developing a lot of best practice, and you know, they are a real anchor for the Invercargill CBD. We're seeing businesses opening in the CBD, which is exciting. The new Sterling Sports has just opened there, so there's some change happening, but we need to give pace to that change, and we need to get some acceleration happening.
Now, for the retailers who are doing well in Invercargill, they may have a gut reaction that they don't want any more competition. So how does that work?
We would say that in a place like Invercargill, there'll be a lot of spending attrition. In almost every town or city we work in, there's a large amount of money that goes out of that area, whether it's been spending online or whether it's people spending money when they're travelling. A better retail environment, a better offer will help retain some of that attrition. So there's potential there right now, and we think a town centre rejuvenation would help retain a lot more.
I guess an example would be before the earthquakes in Christchurch, the strip along Oxford Terrace, all those restaurants, you'd think they would cannibalise each other, but your argument would be they all make the market bigger.
Absolutely. And clustering is a really strong dynamic that's working for many cities. Wellington's a great example. You know, you've got a camping and outdoor cluster that's developed. You've got two really strong fashion clusters around the lower part of Buller Street and around the Victoria Street precinct. So clustering is a dynamic that is really valuable, actually fighting back against the issues of online retailing. So consumers can come into town, they can be really confident that there's a good range, wide range of value points, wide range of products for them to choose from.
Now, traditionally, Invercargill is quite a conservative place, but there are some new councillors who are determined to change things. How can they actually make a difference, or is the inertia in Invercargill so great it will be difficult?
They can make a difference by getting highly engaged, both with the stakeholders and with the council team that are driving these changes. So Invercargill's lucky they've got a really good town centre manager, and she's already underway with some quite transformational changes in terms of the food truck events that she's running. But clearly she's got some good ideas. She's got the support of Swords. She's got the support of some of the major stakeholders, and it's a question of giving her the right resources, the right support politically, and also basically just being out amongst the community and for those politicians to spend some time with the retailers and hear their challenges, but also understand the opportunities.
So who pays? I mean, that's really what most people worry about, especially ratepayers. Is this rejuvenation of Invercargill CBD going to ultimately cost the ratepayer a lot of money?
It won't cost them a lot of money. They've already spent not an inconsiderable sum on planning, on previous strategies. So the reality is they will have to spend some money, but that's no different than any other city centre has. Dunedin's facing the same challenges right now.
And I guess commercial rates eventually start to kick in and solve the problem. That's
right. What we would hope is that we would see some regeneration in terms of the CBD, potentially bringing some of these offices, some head offices back into the CBD, creating some innovative work environments in the CBD, getting the arts and culture environment into the CBD, which I know is an aspiration that City Council and Swords also have. So these types of venues, these destinations, really can be fantastic anchors for a CBD. Invercargill doesn't have that at the moment. Yet, if we look at the likes of New Plymouth, Pukeariki, great anchor, and the Govett Brewster Gallery, you know, they have completely transformed New Plymouth as a destination, both for its residents and for visitors. To Papa, enough said, you know, that's been a great anchor. And for Wellington, the Film Museum and the new conference centre, you know, these are the expectations are there too. So in a different scale, Invercargill has that opportunity.